Welcome to Retire Colorado. From tax efficiency to income planning, healthcare, and investments, Alicia and Josh Lewis and the team at Lehman Lewis Financial Group know what it takes to help you plan for a modern retirement. They listen to your dreams and goals to help you achieve retirement success. This is Retire Colorado.
Hello, Colorado, and welcome. Along with Alicia and Josh Lewis, I'm Bruce Steinbrock. Alicia and Josh, always great to be with you here on Retire Colorado.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here as well.
So we want to help people get into and through retirement. We talk about it on the radio show all the time. Of course, we are joined by Chuck Lehman, Alicia's dad. And you really have a family office, Alicia, built certainly by Chuck, who's been in the business for 45 years, but Jeff is a part of it. Sharon is a part of it. We have a whole team of people that are behind you to help you get into and through retirement.
Absolutely. We are a family business and we love that. We've got an incredible team and an incredible team of advisors that are working for you to help you have that retirement of your dreams.
Well, today on the Retire Colorado show, we want to talk about protected income. And the good news is that is on the rise in the United States. People are protecting their retirement income. And we want to talk about what that is, what is non-protected income, and how you can use that to your benefit in retirement as well. So let's focus on protected income. Alicia, what is it and how do we protect income?
So when we start our retirement planning process, it's called the PEACE process. What we're really doing is getting to know you. What is it that keeps you up at night? What really just makes you nervous about your retirement? What's your bucket list? What do you want to do in retirement? What are some of the dreams that you want to accomplish now that you're in retirement? And so what we focus on is looking at income first, because of course, without income, you can do nothing. So we really focus in on what is your paycheck and what is your playcheck. So paycheck is something that you need. That is money that is never going to go away. In fact, it's going to be rising with inflation. So we want to make sure that that is protected income and it's going to come in no matter what, rain or shine. You've got this income. Then we get to really start playing with what is your playcheck? What is it that you want to do in retirement? And how quickly do you want to start doing that? Because we have some people that are saying, man, well, we're young and healthy and really wanting to travel and do these things. We want to spend more money up front in retirement. While some people are saying, you know what, we just kind of want to do, these little trips all throughout and kind of keep it more consistent. The fun thing is it doesn't have to be exactly the same every year. It's flexible. That's why it's called the play check. And so really when we're honing in on these things, we're taking all the different things that you have, Social Security income, pension, and then we're looking at what's that gap? What more income do you need in your paycheck? And how can we make sure that that is going to be protected income, guaranteed income? So a lot of times we look at the different strategies that are available in our portfolios, in annuities. Everybody has a different plan. That's the thing. And so it really kind of comes down to how much income are you needing?
Josh, Alicia mentioned some of those protected incomes. I mean, our Social Security, something we pay into, it's, protected, annuities, pensions, those types of things. But let's talk about the money that may not be protected. Our 401ks are heavily invested in the stock market. So how do we treat that? What are some of those not protected incomes that are in retirement that we need to have part of our portfolio, but we need to have our eyes wide open as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So you think about any investment in the stock market, right? It's going to be subjected to volatility. Even if it's a bond, for example, where we saw bonds get whipsawed last year just because of interest rate cuts. So when you look at kind of the stock market, if you're relying purely on just equity markets growing over a period of time, you're also going to see your income get subjected to some of that volatility long term, and I think that even speaks to dividend paying stocks where a lot of people, said, gosh, these dividends, they're really consistent. Well, I think we saw a lot of people's kind of paradigm shift during the COVID pandemic where some of those companies said, hey, we got to suspend our dividend or we got to cut it back because we're really looking at sort of our cash balance right now and our revenue's down. So we got to kind of maintain that cash balance. So we're going to suspend that dividend. So I think people started looking a little bit differently at how those income sources were coming in and really kind of, again, back to that volatility piece. Do you want your income to move up and down, or do you want something more consistent? And that's really where you got to look at multiple strategies.
And Alicia, statistically speaking, 40% of Americans have protected income. That means 60% don't. So they might treat it as maybe income. And in retirement, maybe income is not something you rely on.
Right. And I think that's something that really kind of prevents people from retirement or prevents people from really fully walking in, hey, all the things that they could be doing and want to be doing, but maybe are a little bit more afraid. And so that's where, hey, having a plan to make sure that, yeah, you've got this guaranteed income, you've got this protected income, and making sure that if you have something that's not protected, how can we fill in that gap or change that story to make sure that you do have a guaranteed income, and also give you those goals if you're not retired yet of here's what needs to be done. Let's get on track with that so that you can be on track with your goals for retirement.
And we talk weekly on the radio show about having that plan. Tune in and join Alicia, Josh, and Chuck Lehman for more information on the radio. This is Retire Colorado. And Josh, people talk about annuities in retirement. So do you do any kind of an annuity analysis to help them as they're preparing in retirement?
Absolutely. So that's really where we sit down and kind of, look at what's your income deficit, what's your gap going to look like, and how do you want to fill that gap? Sometimes people love that idea of, I want guaranteed income from an annuity. I like how that piece plays in. I still have assets in the market where I'm going to get some of that really great growth because it's, the not guaranteed piece. So really looking at, hey, how does this fit into your overall plan and how are you going to use it? Because more often than not, I think people love that consistency piece to fill in that gap. But again, having all of those different strategies working together in symbiosis to really create that great plan, that you're going to really lead your best retirement life with.
And I have to just say, all annuities are not created equal. There are some really great annuities and there are some really terrible annuities. So making sure that you're using the proper one, because there's different purposes for different types of annuities. And so that's where making sure it really fits with your entire plan. And it's not just a piece, of just this random annuity that you have in your portfolio, but really being intentional about what you have, why you have it, when you're going to use it is going to be key. And also making sure that you're working with an advisor that is specifically working with retirees.
And kind of also on that note, if you already have an annuity and you're kind of wondering now, gosh, is this the right thing for my plan? Yeah, we would absolutely do an analysis on that and look at all of those key details, look at all the benefits, the costs, and then kind of look at how does this fit in? Is it a good position to have inside of there, or is it something that maybe needs to be rectified? So again, we analyze it from all different aspects.
We had somebody come in a couple of weeks ago that was like, I think, and we had just met them. They're like, I think we need to get rid of this annuity. And I've had it for, 8 years. And we started looking at it and we're like, this is actually really good. And here's the benefits to it. Let's just create a plan around that. And don't get rid of it. So don't go making any hasty decisions without talking to us first, because I think that there's a lot to be had when it comes to capturing some of the things that you've already done.
You can reach out to Alicia, Josh, and the Lehman Lewis team at the number listed on your screen. We'll continue with Retire Colorado right after this.
Congratulations, you did it! You worked hard and saved for retirement, but now you have questions. Could my taxes increase? How will I cover my expenses? Will my income last? You need a strategy to help make sure your hard-earned money goes the distance in retirement. That's why we're offering this free guide designed to help you determine if your nest egg can withstand the challenges of a 21st century retirement. Longer lives, increasing healthcare costs, and taxes are just a few of the possible risks to your income. Get the guide today and take the first step to help your money last in retirement.
You are one of a kind. So what will your retirement look like? Will you retire here or here? Maybe you'll spend time here or here or even over here. Your future is our mission, so you can make more memories here or here. Wherever you're coming from, we're here for wherever you want to go.
It's how you remember to grab the perfect ingredient. It's making sure you have all the essentials before you hit the open road. Sometimes it's your friendly reminder there's always more to do. A checklist helps give you confidence you have everything covered so nothing slips through the cracks. When it comes to your retirement, you don't want to leave anything to chance. That's why we created our Checklist Challenge to make sure you have all the essentials for your ideal retirement. Take the challenge today. See if you have what it takes to hit the road to retirement with confidence.
It is Retire Colorado, along with Alicia and Josh Lewis. I'm Bruce Steinbrock. Today we are talking about protected income in retirement. And the probably most key component, Alicia, of our protected income is Social Security. It's been taken out of our checks since we were, let's say 16 years old and working at a restaurant or whatever we did when we were kids. And all the way through retirement, Social Security has been taken out of your check for a reason. So how do you help people navigate Social Security and turning it on at the right time?
Oh, this is a big piece. This is part of your pension plan, if you will. You've paid into it, like Bruce said. And so really, I can't tell you how many times people come in and they say, oh, I'm going to start Social Security at full retirement or age 62 because why not? And I always ask, okay, can you tell me the why? What are you thinking with that? And a lot of times people just say, I don't know, because I can. And I think that's something where we're just like, okay, time out. Let's talk about this. Let's look at your entire picture, because there's more that goes into it than just, I'm going to start my income off of Social Security because I can. We look at how much is going to be taxed. We look at the cost of living adjustments on Social Security, and where's that break even point, as well as, is it beneficial for you to wait until you're 70 to start taking it, because every year in between full retirement and 70, you get an 8% growth on that. So there's a lot to consider rather than just taking it because you can.
And the husband and wife have to turn it on maybe at different times. You take advantage
Yes.
of when it's best to do that for either of the spouses. So Josh, there's about a third of Americans that understand their Social Security. 3 out of 4 don't even have a financial plan when it comes to retirement. So there's a lot of people that really need this help.
You're absolutely right. A lot of times people are just saying, hey, I can get this now, so that's my plan. And I think, failing to plan is planning to fail. And really, it's, again, looking at how does that correspond with everything else? How does Social Security correspond with maybe your spouse's Social Security? What's the likelihood that you're going to live past life expectancy? One of the most pragmatic questions we like to ask people is there longevity in your family? Because again, when you look at a lifetime benefit from something like Social Security, you're going to want to maximize that benefit specifically to your own personal situation. So if you don't have longevity in your family, you might be better off to take it sooner. If you have a lot of longevity, it's the exact opposite. But again, there's a lot of different things to look at, and a lot of it comes back to lifestyle. And then really, what does that translate to for your spouse? If you don't have longevity and your spouse does, you probably want a pretty strong benefit, because that's what's going to be passed on to them. So again, looking at how all your assets really parlay into the timing of taking Social Security and also the tax liability that goes with it.
And let's face it, guys, statistically speaking, guys die before their wives. 80% of men die married, 80% of women die single. So preparing for that and the Social Security ramifications, because people, I'm sure when you tell them, not everybody knows, Alicia, for the first time when they come in and you say, when this spouse dies, that Social Security benefit goes away. You paid into it all your life. You think you're going to both get it until you pass, but that's not the case.
That is not the case. You do get to keep the higher of the two Social Securities, but there's still the income loss from the Social Security as well as higher taxes because you're filing single. And so there is kind of the double whammy there of losing income and paying more taxes. And so really that's where we want to focus on. When can you take Social Security that it's going to benefit you, not only as you're alive, but also when one of you passes away, when is going to be the best to take it so that it's going to last your lifetime, as well as provide some of that loss of income so that you're not, taking it too soon and having a lower income.
And Josh, you talked about longevity. It's the number one concern. Will I have enough money to get through retirement? Both spouses together all the way through retirement. When one passes, is there going to be enough? So planning for that is probably the biggest key when you sit down with couples and go over this strategy. Will the money last?
You're absolutely right. I think one of the key questions or kind of comments we hear from a lot of the men, who reasonably expect to die first, likely because of our, excellent decision-making process, but really kind of, saying, I want to make sure my wife, my spouse is taken care of, because I'm looking at this in a really practical sort of sense. So again, looking at how that's going to translate to going back to your spouse and really making sure that they're going to be well taken care of, because those statistics are very true. And we see that play out in real life all the time.
But we always want to make sure that your plan is not running out of money all the way to 100 and beyond. And so sometimes when we do like a stress test on your retirement portfolio, we look at, based on what you're doing right now, how, could you potentially run out of money? Because the last thing that we ever want anybody to experience is being just 95 years old and full of life and flat busted broke. I mean, we do not ever want to see anybody experiencing that. And that's what we do in our planning, is extinguish that. We want to make sure that you're never going to run out of money, but it takes planning. It takes a lot of intentional, purposeful planning. And that's what we really focus on in here.
And if you want to put together that plan with Alicia and Josh Lewis and the Lehman Lewis team, you can call the number at the bottom of your screen. Also, log on to Retire Colorado for some great free information. We'll continue with Retire Colorado right after this.
Congratulations, you did it! You worked hard and saved for retirement, but now you have questions. Could my taxes increase? How will I cover my expenses? Will my income last? You need a strategy to help make sure your hard-earned money goes the distance in retirement. That's why we're offering this free guide designed to help you determine if your nest egg can withstand the challenges of a 21st century retirement. Longer lives, increasing healthcare costs, and taxes are just a few of the possible risks to your income. Get the guide today and take the first step to help your money last in retirement.
Eggs. For you, they never ended up in one basket. You saved, you invested, you diversified. Then, with the right help, you grew your nest egg and found the recipe for your ideal retirement. And when it all came together, you realized it was about more than just eggs. Write your retirement recipe today.
It's how you remember to grab the perfect ingredient. It's making sure you have all the essentials before you hit the open road. Sometimes it's your friendly reminder there's always more to do. A checklist helps give you confidence you have everything covered so nothing slips through the cracks. When it comes to your retirement, you don't want to leave anything to chance. That's why we created our Checklist Challenge to make sure you have all the essentials for your ideal retirement. Take the challenge today. See if you have what it takes to hit the road to retirement with confidence.
This is Retire Colorado, along with Alicia and Josh Lewis. I'm Bruce Steinbrock. You can reach the Lehman Lewis team at the number listed at the bottom of your screen, and you can always log on to retirecolorado.com and get some complimentary information that is downloadable right to you. Well, Alicia and Josh, today we are talking about that protected income sources, Social Security being such a key part of that. But if you still have a pension, if you have annuities that you've built up in life, those are things that are certainly protected incomes. And how can we help people have more confidence when it is that they're, trying to design their retirement plan so that protected income and that non-protected income get them through retirement?
Well, I think it all comes down to having a plan and making sure that your plan is very flexible. There's a lot that happens in retirement, and we want to make sure that your plan is flexible so that it can change with it. If you have a retirement plan that has been set it and forget it, that should be a red flag for you, because things change not only in your life, but also in the economy, in certain investment strategies, in the market. So we want to make sure that it is an ongoing conversation of making adjustments within your plan, making adjustments within your income as well. Usually those adjustments are going up because we want to absolutely have that inflation adjustment every year. But also, I think it really comes down to being able to see it. Hey, this is your retirement roadmap. This is how we're going to be taking your income from which bucket, if you will, of your portfolio. And this is the numbers. This is showing people you're not going to run out of money. Here's how much money you have when you're 100 years old. And so it is, I think it gives people just a sense of freedom in retirement, because then they can have that freedom to say, I can go enjoy the retirement that I've always dreamt of because I know I'm not going to run out of money.
Also, if you want to hear more about retirement income planning, you can also tune in to the radio show with Alicia, Josh, and Chuck Lehman, Alicia's dad, part of the Lehman Lewis financial family. Josh, there are many protected income sources. As you're preparing for that, what about the options in protected income? Are there many options that we have available to us in retirement?
Absolutely. There's a lot of different ways to look at how do you derive income from your portfolio. So a lot of times we look at, the fixed indexed annuity space and say, hey, if you need to create this X amount per month, this is a great way to do it. You're not going to see a lot of volatility. But again, you want to have other assets participating in the marketplace that are not protected, because we're not capping the upside on that. But again, it's really kind of back to that education piece and knowing and understanding all of those options available to you, and then really implementing the plan that you understand, and you feel good about it. So, really educating folks on all those different options, I think really allows them to make good decisions on that, and decisions that they're going to be at peace with, and that are really going to provide that protected income piece throughout the duration of their lifetime, and even maybe their spouse's lifetime, depending on how things are properly structured.
And one of my favorite things that we get to do is put together a couple different options of saying, do you like option A or do you like option B? And what feels good to you? Because again, there's no right answer for everybody. There's no magic bullet that is going to, make your retirement perfect. It all comes down to, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? What makes you feel comfortable? And ultimately, what do you like? So that's where we get to kind of play with that, because we work for you. We are a true firm that is working in the best interest of our clients. And so we get to go out and say, this is what our client is trying to accomplish, and then go shop for you to figure out what is going to be right and best. We don't have just a menu of investments, if you will, to choose from. We get to choose based on what it is that you need. So I love that.
So many of you have done just a great job working and saving. You put money in your 401k. Maybe you developed an IRA or two while you were working and saving and getting your family, through the tribes and tribulations, through school, through college, on to the next phases of life. Alicia, when we get to that point, we want to, there is, we haven't really studied this. There isn't a class that we offer anybody. So that class is coming in and sitting down with Alicia and Josh and the Lehman Lewis team to learn about this. But there is no class on, we know how to work, but we don't know how to maximize our benefit from that 401k and IRA.
Absolutely. And that's why we focus a lot on educating people on what is available in the financial industry. Even if it's stuff that we don't offer, we want you to know all of the different options, because we have a saying in here, the option that you're never given is the option that you're never going to take. And so we want to make sure you have all of your options. And so I think it's really, it's a gift to be able to sit down with people and educate them. And I was sitting with a couple clients the other day. They just came on board with us, and the wife, she said, "Thank you so much. I've never been involved with investments, and I've never really liked talking about it. And I usually don't even come to these meetings, but you guys really pushed me into coming, and I understand it. And you've not made it boring. You haven't talked over my head. And I've really enjoyed the process of, getting to know what it is that our retirement looks like, because likelihood is that she's going to be the surviving spouse." And so it is, again, such a gift to be able to educate people and help walk through that process of a plan in retirement.
And let's face it, Josh, the worst question is the one never asked. So we really want people to hold up their hands and ask those questions.
You're absolutely right. Anytime I go over anything with anyone, it's always, what kind of questions? Does this all make sense? And even revisiting things along the way. And I think, if you can make it as easy to understand as possible for people, then that's all the better. I think it was Mark Twain who said, if you can't explain it to a fourth grader, you don't know it well enough to explain it at all. So we really kind of try to take that approach too.
Well, and I think we even watch kind of facial expressions, if there's ever like the eyebrow raise, like, what, I don't quite get that, that's where we are like, okay, let's stop right there and let's dig in a little bit more. What do you want to, know more about this? Where did I lose you? Where did I confuse you there? And I think part of this process too is relationship. It's so relationship driven for us, because, we are not a transactional firm. We truly spend time getting to know the families that we represent and work with, because we truly believe that the better we can know you and get to know you and get to know where your heart is, the better we can advise you. So that's why we really take that relational approach, so that we know how to best advise you and speak into your life for retirement and for your investments.
Reach out to Alicia, Josh, and the Lehman Lewis team at the number listed at the bottom of your screen. Alicia, Josh, great to be with you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Retire Colorado.